Buying a home in 2025 is super hard, and no one actually teaches you how to do it.
Are you kidding me?
In this video, I'm going to teach you 4 things that you need to think through and plan through before you ever visit a home or sign a contract. I'm Andrew. I'm a loan officer that's been doing this for 3 years. I've already helped hundreds of homeowners think through the process of buying a home. I'm going to teach you 4 things today that are going to help you in the home buying process if you plan ahead. We're going to talk through your timeline. We're going to talk through your estimated costs, your team of people that you're working with, and your must-haves in a house. These are things that you should think through before even getting into the home buying process. One of the most important pieces of buying a home is your timeline. It's different for everyone, and you want to make sure you know and you've planned before getting into the home buying process and considered a lot of things. You may be renting, you may be living with family, wherever you are at. You might be selling a house, you might be moving from New York, California, Pennsylvania, whatever you're doing, you're going to want to figure out the best possible time to move for you. Whether that's, I'm going to sell my house and I'm going to buy a new house at the same time, or if you're renting, when does my lease end? One thing to consider when you're building a timeline is when your first mortgage payment is due. Your mortgage skips a month. So if you close your loan July 5th, it's going to skip August and it's going to be September 1st as your first mortgage payment. This does help if you're ending a lease, if you're finishing a lease. It helps with, a little bit of house contingency if you're trying to sell your previous house and move into your new house. There's a lot of things to consider with the timeline. And a lot of people, they don't really think about when they want to buy. So that's something to consider. The other thing I would tell you from a mortgage loan officer perspective is your pre-approval is going to be good for roughly 90 days. It's always good to check with the person that's doing your lending, your loan officer, to figure out where you're at. Rates are constantly changing, so just staying updated with them, that's a huge part of your timeline. If you're going to move in 6 months and you're getting pre-approved, which is a solid idea, you're going to want to make sure that you're not basing all of your numbers on the current rates, because those are going to be changing as you're going through the months. The other thing that you're going to want to think through with your pre-approval is your credit. So you're not going to want to make large credit decisions in that timeline. You're gonna want to keep everything clean so that when it comes to buy a house, you're ready to go and you don't have any surprises waiting for you. A big piece of the mortgage process is going to be, and the home buying process in general, is going to be who you work with. It's probably the most important piece of the puzzle. Your real estate agent and your loan officer are going to be able to help you navigate the really tough landscape, and they're going to be there to answer questions for you. A lot of people think that your realtor's job is to show you houses. Literally not their job. You could go on Zillow, you could look at houses, you could find the one you want. You could be like, this matches all my boxes. That is not your realtor's primary value add to you. The place the realtor shines, if they're a good real estate agent, is in the process and in negotiations. When they're negotiating for you to get the best deal, when they're on your side, they can save you thousands of dollars. They can make sure you don't step into a home with a lot of pitfalls, with a bunch of repair expenses that you're going to need. That is where they shine. It's not about finding you a house. It's not about showing you a house, really. It's not even about, like smiling and coming to closing. It's about the transaction. It's about the negotiations. That's where they shine, and that's where a great agent is really going to help you get into a home that's going to help you build wealth and gain equity as you go. And then working with a great loan officer who teaches you exactly how to navigate the process. If your loan officer is not going into depth on loan types, if your loan officer is not explaining what a buy down is, if your loan officer is not explaining your closing costs, that's a big problem. I'm going to talk about that here in a second, but your loan officer should be not a salesperson, but he should be someone who is educating you and explaining the process to you and paying attention to the details of your loan. Let's talk about the estimated costs of buying a house. So there are so many costs that come into this, whether it be moving costs or your loan costs, inspections, appraisals, all of these different things that you're going to need to pay for as you go through the home buying process. It is very important that you get a feeling before you start looking at houses, before you get, you get pre-approved of what you can afford. You can go to mortgage calculator. I think it's like mortgagecalculator.net, mortgagecalculator.com, something like that. And you can actually punch in numbers yourself. You can see what your monthly payment would be on 400K, on 300K, and you can start to build what you would be comfortable with. Now, I would also say this ties into who you're working with. You need to be talking with a lending professional at this point because they're going to tell you what to use for PMI. They're going to tell you what to use for interest rate. They're going to give you all of those pieces to help you build and figure out. But you shouldn't really be looking at houses if you don't have your estimated costs figured out. If you don't know how much you can afford, it doesn't make any sense to look at houses. With my clients, I try to do this all up front, where I've talked through all of their closing costs, all of the money they need to bring for down payment and closing costs, their total cash to close, and then also any stuff that's going to be outside the transaction, as well as what their monthly payment is going to be. And I'll break all this down in a later video. But I want my clients to go and view a home and walk through that home and say, hey, I am willing to spend $2,400 a month to live in this home. I'm willing to spend $2,800, $3,400, $1,600 to live in this home. I have the money in my account to foot the bill at closing, but I don't want my clients to ever get under contract or find a house, they love it, but then they can't afford it. That's just, it's not profitable, it's not efficient. It tends to make the home buying process really frustrating. If you take that out and you focus up front on planning this stuff, you're really going to have a much easier, a much simpler home buying process, simply because you know what you can afford. The last piece, the fourth piece of things you need to think through when you're buying a house is what you must have in a house. And this is also going to take away a lot of the frustration when you're looking at houses. Nobody wants to look at 30 houses and then not find the one they want. So you need to know what location it's in. You need to know what you can afford. Are there non-negotiables, right? Do you have to have a garage for your Tesla? Do you have to have a big backyard for your kids? Do you need it to be fenced for your dog? If you can figure these things out and maybe create a list, that would probably be really helpful, and I would recommend it. Create a list on a piece of paper, on a Google Doc, of non-negotiables. These are the non-negotiables for my home purchase. It has to have a garage. It has to have granite countertops. Whatever you deem as most important. Like, is price everything? Does it have to be under a certain price? Does it have to be in a certain school district for your children? These are all things that you're going to want to think about. A lot of these things that I've thrown out are also things that a great real estate agent can help you with. But the real estate agent is going to love you if you then present this list to them, because then they know what they're working off of. What often happens is you visit houses and you're like, this isn't quite right, this isn't quite right, or you don't know what you can afford because you're not working with a loan officer who's a professional. And then the home, even just finding a house, becomes really, really frustrating. We want to make this a simple process. We want to take all of the frustration out, and we want to get you to a point where you know what you're searching for, you are working with professionals, you know what you can afford, and you know what you must have in a house. And that is going to smooth over half of the problems, if not 75% of the problems that you're going to run into in a real estate transaction as a first-time home buyer.
Well, that was smooth.
Buying a home doesn't have to be crazy hard in 2025, as long as you do these 4 things that we've talked about today. If you plan your timeline, get a good team of people around you, know your estimated costs, and then know your non-negotiables, you're going to be in a great position to buy a home, love the home that you buy, not make massive mistakes in buying, and you're going to be on a great path to build equity through your home as a first-time home buyer. I hope this has been super helpful, and I hope it helps you on your home buying process. Stay tuned, as we're going to have more videos in this series for you as you're looking to buy a house. As always, my name is Andrew, and I hope you have a better day than I do.